Hey everybody, welcome to Kimmel's Irish Pub. Time for another movie review. Tonight's movie, 5/25/77. I have to say, I got chills just saying it. I literally got chills saying it. And here's why. I don't know much about the movie. I could tell you what the plot says about an alienated filmmaker in Illinois that sees the movie that changes everything, right? I don't know if that movie is Star Wars, that movie is Dune, or Space Odyssey, whatever. For some reason I always thought it was Star Wars, but I could be wrong. I don't know. But the story is, the only person I recognize is John Francis Daley, plays Pat Johnson, right? I know I'm butchering this intro, but let me tell you me. So when I started watching movies, even before I started this channel, in 2016, right? This movie popped up on my list. Somehow, some way, like all the other movies that I always say, like this is just an odd movie that just came to me years ago, before 2016. This movie had to be made, I don't know how long ago. Let me see if I can see it here. It says 2022, but it's not. I mean, this is an older film. All right, and prior to 2016. And I was like, oh, this sounds like a good one, right? And I threw it on my list. I have never been able to find this movie. You can't buy it on Amazon until this week. You could not, I mean, like streaming, you couldn't get it on Netflix, even the discs. You couldn't buy it on Amazon, like buy the disc. There was no way to find it. I researched it so much that I found, like, message boards. Maybe it was Reddit. I think it feels like it was before Reddit, but I'm sure Reddit was out there a long time ago. Before I discovered Reddit. On message boards where they say, you know, I saw it like at a small film festival, you know, in my town. Or there was private screenings of this movie, right? That's the only way you were able to ever see this movie. I don't know what I did, but I just happened to stumble upon it. It is now on Amazon for $2.99. I don't know if it's any good. It's 2 hours and 15 minutes long, but I've been dying to see this thing for 7 years, 5 years maybe, I don't know. Before 2016, I mean, it feels like 7 years. I don't know. I'm excited. It's not 2022. It is 6.5 on IMDb, and only 383 people rated it so far. And I promise you, it is not from 2022. It is released on Amazon in 2022. I am going to find you that date. And I appreciate that you're watching this right now. You probably know exactly, if you turned on this review, you're excited to find out more about it too, like I am. Because nobody else is going to know what this is, because it's such like a hidden film. So, I don't know. It could be awful. It could be great. It's just so exciting to see it, and I feel bad. Even my daughter was like, let's watch a movie tonight. And I'm like, honey, I waited till Friday. You're like, this is not a weekday movie. This is a Friday movie that I'm so excited. It's actually almost 11 o'clock at night, and I'm turning this thing on. I'm so excited. I'm getting through it, and I'm glad you're sharing it with me. So stick around. Let me get into it. Let me find out a little bit more when it was exactly made. A little bit more, you know, as I watch the movie, I will research more. It came on with a preview and I even turned it off. I said, I don't even want to know the preview. So, anyway, I'm rambling. I'm excited. You can see that. Let me get into it. I'll be back. Hey everybody, I want to do a quick check-in here. We're watching 5/25/77. We're at the 1 hour, 1 minute, and 38 second mark. So just under halfway through. I was going to stop it even earlier than this. Just to talk about this because it's interesting. Like now, and while I was watching it, I was researching a little bit more, so I got some more information. Now, I think it was finally finished in 2017, so I was a little off. I knew it was, you know, a couple years ago that I found this movie, but here's the thing, and I believe I found it before 2016, and the way the story goes, that this has been 18 years in the making. So 18 years, so 1999, right, until 2017, if it was 18 years in the making, right, and that Patrick Reed Johnson was while it was in development and wasn't completely finished, he was going around to different venues and showing it and stuff like that. And then like editing it and making it finished, and that's when it became finished. This is one article I read. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. But it jives with what I had been researching way back in the day when this movie came out. So I find it, I don't know, just fascinating for some reason. It's an interesting journey for myself. And it's all about filmmaking, right? And I know I'm really interested in films. I'd love to be able to make films. I know I can't. I think I could give advice on plot lines and endings and stuff like that. Maybe dialogue here and there, but I have ideas on writing, you know, a script. But that's very, as far as I go. I mean, what people do today. And that drives me back to this film. So, you know, our character, our main character, who is Patrick Johnson, is a filmmaker from, like, so he sees 2001: The Space Odyssey, and that's what says, I want to be a filmmaker. And just watching some of the things that he's doing, and the passion, and the drive, and the dedication, is like, I wish I had that for something, anything. Besides, I'm watching movies, but that's whatever. This is like somebody who has an itch to do something and continues to build and create and improve and stuff like that. Like me watching movies, I'm not improving anything, right? That's the only drive I have. And to see that, like, that is pretty awesome. You know, like that was why I was going to stop it right away. I mean, this kid, I mean, he's just like, and what he was doing was, like, initially when he started was making like sequels of good movies, like Jaws 2 he was making, you know, Planet of the Apes 2, which is cool. And just going to every length to make these things. When he was in high school, he's recruiting his best friend to come and act in all of these different things, and all his other friends, and they're really in depth. And the one that really got me, he's shooting an alien scene where the alien, and it's his best friend dressed as an alien, boarding a spacecraft. And he's shooting it, and I'm like, well, how did he make that? But then they kind of back up and show how he did it. Like, it's so ingenious, like putting like a Christmas light thing underneath a hubcap and putting it at the angle that his friend could walk up a ramp, and it looks like he's boarding this, you know what I mean? I've seen like things like that, like on YouTube, but like this is in the 70s. And this guy has that, you know, thought process to be like, oh, we'll just do it this way. Instead of like, you know, like me, I'd be like, we have to build a whole spaceship and make it look real realistic, and then you go, you know, for one shot. Whereas no, he's like, yeah, just do this, this, and this. You know, just like the way the mind works. And people are born like that, I think. But they're not born with the drive and the passion. He just ends up with that. So that piece, obviously, I'm still very excited about this film. I liked it a lot. And his mother. Like, two things you take away from this film, just for the first hour, is, you know, like, have drive, have passion, chase the things that you really want to do, and, you know, just continue to do that. This inspires you as a kid, and now I'm not a kid anymore. So the second thing is being a supportive parent. That's the second part of this. Like, seeing his mother, I mean, like, just like supporting him and rooting for him. Of course, you know, she's, you know, he's breaking the circuits in his house sometimes with the things that he does, but she's still supportive. She's reprimanding, of course, for things that he does wrong, but those two things really stood out to me in the first part of this film. So really fun. I am enjoying it, and he's now at this stage has made a trip to Hollywood. I think he's still 17 years old, with the help of his mother, and he meets Steven Spielberg. You know, so I mean, at that point, it's like, okay, but that's just what happened. And he's holding a bottle of Pepsi. But that's where we are so far. So really liking it, enjoying it a lot. So we'll see where it goes from here. Worth the wait. And $2.99 on Amazon Prime. I do believe it's coming out on Showtime, I think is what I saw, like December 16th. But I'm glad I didn't wait. But I'll be back. Hold on, it's not over yet. So let's see where it goes. Stick around. I'll be back. Hey everybody, we're at the credits of 5/25/77. Real quick, I paused there for a second because they're actually showing pictures of Patrick Johnson, which is kind of cool. Like, I think the rest of his friends and the people who were in the film. So, pretty neat. I want a shirt that says 52577. So I'll be honest with you, this isn't a spoiler alert because probably everybody else knew this. I didn't realize that's the day Star Wars came out, right? So I told you basically he saw 2001: Space Odyssey, wants to be a filmmaker. Great. Right after I checked in, it's not switches, but he went to Hollywood, met Steven Spielberg, and there's a whole story there. But then he gets a glimpse of what Star Wars is, right? He meets like the special effects guys for that and becomes enamored with it. Why wouldn't you, right? And can't wait for it to come out. It comes out May 25th, 1977. So it's like his whole life revolves around going to see that film. And that's like kind of the second half of the film is him waiting for that, explaining what it is, telling all of his friends, everything involved there. So, and I just really, if people ask me what's my favorite film of all time, I always say like Star Wars. I always lean towards Return of the Jedi just because I was old enough to appreciate that. I wasn't, 77, I wasn't old enough to appreciate Star Wars at the time. And I do, don't get me wrong, but when you're a kid, it's like going to the theater for the first time and seeing it. And that's why I always come back to Return of the Jedi. We can argue all day which is the best of the three films, Star Wars. I always call it Star Wars. I don't call it New Hope. New Hope is, no. Star Wars, Empire Strikes Back, and Return of the Jedi. And I think a lot of people say Empire Strikes Back. A lot of people don't like Return of the Jedi because of the Ewoks, but because of my time in my life. Anyway, that's enough about that. This movie, but you can tell, I judge a lot of my movies by how much time I spend on the phone. When I started to research this to find out more about it, I would pause the movie. Other movies, I could pay attention. No, I actually paused it. I enjoyed it that much. I liked it a lot. You know, I don't really want to repeat myself about what I said at the check-in. That holds true. The drive, the passion, the support. His friend in it as well. I like his friend actually is kind of supportive as well. You know, so that whole aspect's there. And his friend, I don't know. They get in an argument about what do you want to be kind of when you grow up. And he's like, you want to make people laugh. And it made me think, like, is that guy Dana Carvey? Because he looks like him a little bit. But, you know, otherwise, worth the wait. Definitely, that I've been waiting all these years to see this movie. Longer than I even know, because I couldn't even answer that for you. It's worth renting on Amazon. Absolutely. You don't have to wait for Showtime. If you're into film movies, making movies, all that stuff, that watching movies, and sci-fi, I would think. But even you don't even need that. I mean, it is a little bit more about sci-fi, but just watching, like, when he was making the angles of stuff, and just camera angles, I thought it was really cool, and I mentioned that earlier. There was one other piece I wanted to mention. In fact, I like Star Wars 52577. I don't know. I had it, and then I blew it by just keep talking. But definitely worth a watch. You gotta go check it out. Man, you gotta, yeah. Hold on. Yeah, I got it now. So, a couple of different things. But the one thing was how he was saying, like, his best friend, they're outside the hospital. His best friend that's a girl is in the hospital, nothing major. But they're waiting outside and they're talking about why he started to make films and stuff like that with his other friend. And they're talking about, he's like, I'm going to love what I do. Like, I just love watching films. Like, and I've thought about myself, like, I do too, you know? I mean, I don't have half of the talent that this guy does, but I obviously love watching movies. I'm almost up to 1,500 movie reviews on YouTube. And I've watched plenty before I started doing this, so I thought I related to that, and I like that a lot. I think that was the last thing I wanted to mention. So I'm going to go on Amazon and put this t-shirt on my wish list, and I don't know. I don't know how many other people would like this. Like, I'm thinking, like, people I'd recommend it to, but if you're watching me this long, you've either seen it or you're excited to see it, and if you are excited and you haven't seen it, go see it. So there you go. An 8? I'm at an 8 on this one. Absolutely. So I don't throw 8s around that much, but it really, I don't know. You got it. That's it. It's a long review. I apologize. But thanks for tuning in. Kimmel's Irish Pub.